Have you ever considered an encore career in retirement? You know, starting a new career in any time in life is difficult, but when you're in your retirement years, it's a really great opportunity to combine social impact and purpose with an income and do something that you really believe in and that you love. So I'd like to talk to you today about the 10 pros and cons of taking on an encore career in retirement. This is Margaret Manning with 60andMe, and I want to welcome you here today. Thank you so much for being here. Wherever you are in the world, I welcome you here. Our show today is brought to you by International Living. Now, International Living is a company that helps you to retire abroad. You might be considering wanting to go to another location in the world for retirement. They've got people on the ground who are writing articles and stories to tell you what is really going on there, give you the answers to the questions that you need in order to make a decision. So if you go out to internationalliving.com/60andme, you'll be able to see what reports they've got at the moment to share, and also just find out more about the specific places you care about. This topic of retiring and working, a lot of people will say, you know, I've done it, I've worked, I've done my working and no more. But other people start what's called an encore career. Now, this was actually started, or the concept was started by a group called Encore.org, which is an NGO that actually helps people to make career decisions and to get trained and move into volunteer positions or positions with income that actually are helping other people. They're volunteer jobs that bring social impact and a sense of purpose and direction to people who have got wonderful skills and experience from their previous careers and want to apply that somewhere that they can be of help and of use. So starting a new career, as I said, is very challenging at any time, and you may be weighing up in your mind, you know, should I do this? Should I take my skills, my wisdom, my knowledge, and give back to the world, or should I do something else? But it's really one of those options that so many people find rewarding, and there is honestly a big opportunity. Now, Encore.org has got lots of information on their website. You can check it out. But I'll just go through what I think are some of the pros and cons. And Hillary Henderson, one of our bloggers, also wrote this article about the topic, which I think kind of lays it out in really black and white and actionable terms. You can make a choice. And my thought about this was, as I was looking at my cards this morning, I found this one that I think obviously relates to this topic. This is in our Aging Beautifully deck of cards, which are 46 cards on different topics related to well-being and just balance in your life in your 60s. This one's give back. You know, and I think after many years of working and doing things that, have been for our own goals, raising our families and buying houses, and, we needed the direction and the income from that. But now when we're a little older, hopefully we've got some time and a bit of space to be able to give back. And whatever way you do that, whether it's in this kind of a role that we're talking about here, an encore career, a formal volunteer or service kind of opportunity, or whether it's just being helpful in any way in your community, I think that's the decision that you make, what you can afford, what you can manage to do. So, because often these encore positions don't have a salary associated with them. So they're kind of a role, like an encore role, not really a job. But they're across the spectrum, and it's really worth checking out to see what's possible and what your particular skills might be able to bring to the table. So here's some of the pros. Flexibility, obviously. You can do, you can work the hours that you want. You can arrange for special, month off, week off. You can take your time, because if you're volunteering your services, this is, they just appreciate any help that you can give. You get this feeling of giving back, as I said, being rewarded. And there's that whole high that you get from volunteer work that is so powerful. And it's, it's just a tender kind of giving back, without any real judgment or conditions. You just take what you've learned, what you've accumulated over the years, and you give it back. You get a deep sense of self-fulfillment. And I think a lot of women face this challenge when they're older. They have come from a place where this maybe the center of that world with children or a job, and now in retirement you're kind of you're not sure what your purpose, what your passion is. And so an opportunity with an Encore career can give you that sense of fulfillment. And I think that's a real currency that's worth considering. You get an income sometimes for doing what you love. And I've got an example of someone I'll tell you in a minute, a very good friend of mine who has taken on a very challenging job, but she is getting paid for it. And it's work that she does 3 or 4 days a week. And I don't know how she does it, to be honest, but I'll share that with you in a minute. And it really is linked to this next pro, which is your maturity gives you a better understanding and a real impact. Like a younger person who's not been through loss, who's not been through challenges, may not be able to help in the same way. If you've had grandchildren, for example, you know how to work with kids. And that's a big advantage if you are, if there's a school or a program that is looking for experienced grandmas or moms to help. And you get more clarity and focus, I think, about your life. It's kind of, where you're going. It gives you a reason to get up in the morning and be of help. And I think that's kind of, those are some of the pros of doing it. You mustn't ignore the cons, of course, and there are a few of those, but I'll just share my friend. She's now working in a suicide hotline. And this is for people who have been affected by a suicide in their family. And, she said it's just the most incredible work to do. Because for one thing, it's not an area that a lot of attention has been put to. This is in the UK. And so there's a lot of people who are dealing with suicide and just finding it so hard. I mean, I can only imagine just how hard that is, but then not to be able to get help or just at least someone to talk to. And my friend is talking to them and, and guiding them onto different places that they can get further help or medical support. It's just such a powerful thing. And she loves doing it. And she does get exhausted. And that's a con. Is that this kind of work can be very emotionally connecting. You can be working with people in ways that, are just so overwhelmingly difficult and sad. So she's dealing with that in her own life and her own, her own emotions. And I'm sure it's very hard. But the other thing I think to the cons of this kind of work, it can be lonely. I mean, my friend does talk about this, that it can be very lonely work. Because if you're by yourself and you're, even if you're in a team, you're working one-on-one with people and it can be very, very lonely. So that's something to think about, that you're not always going to have that camaraderie of a big group of pals, working on projects and going to meetings and having tea and coffee together. It can be quite focused and potentially lonely. There's another con, which is there's always an expectation that these jobs are going to require technology. Most of them require, even just documenting a call or documenting the project that you're working on. You might have to work with a computer, and not every woman in our community is comfortable with that. And that's totally understandable. It's not something that we necessarily had to be aware of in our careers. Towards the last 10 years, of course, that wasn't the case. But if you've been retired for a while, you may be out of the loop with technology. And that's another thing to consider, because you don't want any stress. I mean, this has got to be something that you love to do. An Encore career has to be something that you want and not something that makes you feel stressed. So those, I think, are the ones looking. Yes, you might need to turn something down because you might not get an income. And that's something that you may want to really do, but you can't do it because you just need to bring in savings and income into your own life. And that's, of course, the sometimes the con of the pro and con of an Encore career. I think there's so many opportunities. I mean, what's your current state of work? Are you working? Are you working in a job where you're being, paid and happy with that? Or are you looking for something that's more of a volunteer / role kind of opportunity where you're doing something to give back to society, more of a social impact role? Or is it something perhaps you want to do in the future? Yeah, leave your comments below and let's have a conversation about this. Are you working right now? Are you actively retired? Are you doing any kind of volunteer work? I'd love to have a chat about this. So leave your comments below. And again, thanks for being here. As always, you're welcome. Please check out our other videos. However, we've got lots and lots going on our different channels, our different websites. And also we've got a couple of great supporters groups that you can join. Lots and lots of action. And women in their 60s are doing some incredible things. And I'm just so happy to be part of it with you. So have a great day, everybody. Do something good for yourself and maybe for someone else. And we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye for now.